When the president revealed his $500 million gun control plan in early 2013, he used Sandy Hook as his justification. "Now is the time" was the motto. Background checks, the banning of high-capacity magazines and assault weapons, increased school security, and increased mental health services were the stated goals. The parents of the alleged victims walked hand in hand with this plan, using the exact same language as outlined in the proposal.
Now is the time to
Following
act.
the signing of the New York SAFE Act, the Firearms Safety Act, and the Connecticut Gun Control Bill, Connecticut, Maryland, and New York were the first 3 states to become affected by the plan, causing an outcry amongst citizens. In Connecticut, one man voiced his opinion louder than most.
I'm not here to cite crime statistics, lives saved with a gun, or the economic impact of the proposed asinine legislation, some of these gun control bills you have proposed. I will, however, read from the Connecticut State Constitution. Section 15 reads very clearly, we all know what the Second Amendment says, but Section 15 in the state constitution says very clearly, every citizen has a right to bear arms in defense of himself and the state. There's no registration, there's no permitting, there's no background checks. It's quite clear.
While most people are aware of the correlation between Sandy Hook and gun control, many are cognizant of the mental health connection. Enter Adam Lanza, who, according to the state police report, had no clear motive for the alleged shooting spree. In an effort to fill an obvious void of intention, blame was placed on Lanza's claimed mental illness, despite the fact that no mental health records had been made public. A fact that didn't stop the media, politicians, Sandy Hook parents, and the pharmaceutical industry from lobbying for and passing expensive mental health legislation. Confirmation on Lanza's mental health history is blurry at best. Lanza's stated primary psychiatrist, Dr. Paul Fox, was forced to surrender his license in July of 2012, after his place of employment became aware of ethics violations. He was discovered having sexual relations with clients while prescribing them with mind-altering drugs. After being highly dosed by Dr. Fox, one mother described her daughter as a walking zombie. Seems like a reliable source of information, doesn't he? Shortly after being fired, Dr. Fox fled the country to New Zealand. He gave his official statement on the Sandy Hook investigation to the Connecticut State Police over the phone on December 17, 2012. A summary was given by the police explaining, quote, "All of his medical records pertaining to clients he treated in the United States are currently in storage in the United States." Just one day later, Fox renounced his statement as he explained to police, quote, "Any medical records pertaining to Adam Lanza have been destroyed, since it has been over 5 years. The 5-year statute excuse that Dr. Fox used is false. The MedWatch organization Able Child found fault with this claim statute as they discovered, quote, "According to the regulations of Connecticut State Agency's medical records 19A-14-42, unless specified otherwise herein, all parts of a medical record shall be retained for a period of 7 years from the last date of treatment." Questions surrounding Lanza's mental health are endless, not to mention his entire existence. So what do we actually know about Adam Lanza? Perhaps digging into his past life can lead to some sort of justification for the millions of dollars spent on mental health as a result of the event. But it seems as if his entire existence is shrouded in mystery. After 2009, there is very little trace of him at all. The younger pictures of the boy portrayed as Adam Lanza are of a joyful, smiling child, while the recent images issued out by the media are psychotic looking. The grainy, googly-eyed photos that we see appear to be altered to create the illusion of a deranged psychopath. There are unnatural straight-edge lines on the neck area. There are blurred-out areas near the mouth, and the googly-eyed effect is, well, a nice attempt at creating a mentally disturbed kid. Peter and Nancy divorced in 2009. At this time, Adam disappears from the radar, and his brother Ryan appears, causing many people to believe that Adam and Ryan are one and the same. Now, we can't say with any certainty that this is the case. Nonetheless, the media was careless at times and outright deceitful in their attempt to get an accurate portrayal of Adam. One example comes from the Joshua Flashman interview. Attempting to give motive to the shooting, Fox News reached out to Flashman, a native of Sandy Hook, Monroe area, an aspiring actor, and who supposedly had inside information regarding the Lanzas. He was quoted by Fox News falsely stating that Nancy Lanza was a kindergarten teacher, and that she loved the kids more than she loved him, and that she was planning on having him committed. A nice attempt at creating motive. Shortly after the article was published, Flashman took to the comments section and his Twitter page to dispute how Fox portrayed him as an insider. He states the following: "I told the reporter about what was being said in the town, nothing more, nothing less. I told the reporter what the people in town were saying about Adam Lanza's motive, and next thing I know, I'm intimately acquainted with the Lanza family and knew Adam's motives firsthand. Funny, I didn't know that. Fox approached me and spent 2 days trying to convince me to go on the record, but I just wanted to get on TV, right?" Yes, this is how the media operated during the onset of the Sandy Hook event. If there wasn't a clear motive, make it up. If someone spoke out on a subject, twist his or her words to create motive. Instead of reaching out to a second or third-hand source, one would think the media would go right to the source, Adam's father. Adam's father, Peter, has never given an on-camera interview. His only public testimony comes via the New Yorker, in an article entitled "The Reckoning" by Andrew Solomon. Allegedly, it was Peter who reached out to Solomon, saying that he was finally ready for an interview. So why Andrew Solomon of all people? One would think that every news agency in the land would be foaming at the mouth to get the blockbuster interview from the killer's father. The seemingly obvious answer of why Solomon was chosen comes from his background. Andrew Solomon's father, Howard Solomon, was the CEO for the pharmaceutical giant Forest Laboratories, which produces the drug Lexapro. Coincidentally, according to Solomon's article, Lexapro was the drug prescribed by Dr. Fox to Adam. The article states that Adam discontinued use of this drug, thus giving the illusion that if only he kept up his dosage, the entire Sandy Hook event would have never happened. Now keep in mind, the police report contradicts Solomon's article, as it doesn't mention Lexapro as the drug prescribed to Lanza. Instead, it mentions Celexa. Now shockingly, Celexa is the drug that turned Solomon's Forest Laboratories into a giant. Let's quickly take a look at the police report to cover the specifics. Kathleen Koenig, the nurse specialist working alongside Dr. Paul Fox, gave her testimony to the police. She stated that Celexa was the drug prescribed to Lanza and that Nancy Lanza was, quote, non-compliant, unquote, in giving Adam the prescribed dosage. According to the police report, Koenig attempted to convince her that Celexa was not causing any adverse reactions Adam may be experiencing. And according to Solomon, Koenig was worried about Adam Lanza never taking psychotropics again. Ironically, Andrew Solomon, the man telling the story of Adam through Peter, grew up mentally ill. For years he battled depression, going to extremely bizarre measures as to even travel to foreign lands and try shamanistic tribal blood rituals to cure his illness. To quote Solomon, "So I sat there, naked and completely covered in animal blood, with flies gathering, as they will when you're naked and covered in animal blood, and I drank a Coke." Growing up, Solomon was surrounded by psychotropic drugs. According to his story, he eventually found a way to cure his depression through an undisclosed cocktail of pharmaceuticals. Now, while promoting the drug Celexa, his father would use him as the poster boy of how pharmaceuticals could change one's life. So here we have the Adam Lanza story of a mentally disturbed kid, discontinuing his use of psychotropics, ultimately leading to a mass shooting event. And then we have, on the other side, Andrew Solomon's story of where psychotropics cured a lifelong battle of depression. Is there anybody out there that does not see a clear angle here? Oh, and I forgot to mention that Andrew Solomon is a member of the elitist Council on Foreign Relations, the most influential think tank in the U.S. Even more bizarre is the fact that all of Adam Lanza's alleged psychiatrists were from the Yale Child Study Center, and Dr. Ezra Griffith, a psychiatrist from Yale University, was appointed by Governor Malloy to sit on the Sandy Hook Advisory Commission to recommend mental health care in the state. Now, Yale's Child Study Center even testified before the commission. Talk about a major conflict of interest. Mental health, just like any other illness, is a serious problem. There are proper ways to handle it. Pushing pills, psychotropics, and pharmaceuticals in a society that is already overly vaccinated is not one of them. Especially not from a large pharmaceutical corporation like Forest Laboratories, who has several multi-million-dollar lawsuits against them, one of which is for deceptively and unlawfully marketing the adolescent depression drugs Lexapro and Celexa by using misleading drug labels and paying people to endorse them. And it goes without saying that using a fabricated event to push for certain agendas is about as morally unjust as you can get.